who are the strongest beings that we have in Witcher 3, and of course just Witcher 3, because we might add someone like Vilgefortz to this list and a few other characters. We're talking mainly lore, so not the gameplay aspects, and also we are looking at multiple factors, not just sword fighting skills or just magic abilities, but everything combined, from influence to fighting skills to magical abilities and everything else we know about them. So let's start with number 5. You might be a bit surprised as this guy got turned into Uma, and realistically he didn't really do all that much in the game other than being like this mentor-like figure for Ciri, but there is a ton of lore when you scratch the surface. It is also important to note because he was turned into Uma, he was debuffed pretty much the whole game, he never recovered to his true potential. First of all, he is very old and realistically the most powerful of the outworldly elves. Known as Kreven Espanye Ep Komhan Macha, and for some reason that is short as Avallac'h. He is an elven sage, a knowing one, and he knew most of the bad wild hunt guys since they were children. Like, he is the one that taught Kerentir everything, who was the main navigator for the wild hunt. In terms of his abilities, Avallac'h is an S-tier mage, most notably for the ability to create portals between worlds, but not on the level of Ciri of course, as he himself admits. His main power though is his knowledge and influence, and he was originally the one that was meant to marry Lara Doran, the original legendary elven sorceress, the ancestor, responsible pretty much for all the powers Ciri has, this elder blood. While in the game, he obviously was working behind her back and never really presented much of his abilities, he was never really aggressive, he would in fact be very powerful in combat. He is notable for high-level illusions, invisibility, concealment, when he hits Ciri on the Isle of Mists that literally no mage in the universe could find her, not even Gaunter O'Dim. As we can see in the Battle of Kaer Morhen, he can cast massive protection shields and offensive spells, and he can create powerful explosions and other magical barriers. Ultimately, he even managed to suppress Ciri's crazy outburst, even though he was barely rescued from his Uma form a moment earlier, which just goes to show how his true powers really are. As I said, in the game, he barely fought, so it's easy to dismiss him as just another mage we run into, but this guy is like the Vilgefortz of the elves. Number 4, Eredin. So this one might be a bit controversial, as realistically this guy was one of the easiest boss fights in the game, to be honest. So you can imagine, I mean, how does he rank higher than Geralt, and how is he 4th on the list of the most powerful characters? Well, there is a reason why Ciri hid for so long from him, why we had avoided him pretty much the entire game, and why we only battled him after picking off his generals and we prepared a whole ambush with the help of like half a dozen mages. Eredin is the king of the NL elves and the leader of the wild hunt known as the Red Riders. Previously, he was a general before he assassinated the king, and his whole thing is to use Ciri in order to summon a massive portal to invade the world. Eredin is very old, some sources state a whole millennia. Physically, he is much larger than any human, and his reflexes and abilities exceed those of an enhanced witcher. At the same time, Eredin is a powerful mage as well, being able to create portals and all sorts of spells using much more sophisticated magic as opposed to like these witcher signs that we use. Now, realistically, if you looked at Eredin just on his base stats, then yeah, he might not make this list, but we are looking at his physical abilities, expert swordsmanship combined with his magical abilities, and most importantly, influence. The guy is literally a leader of a whole world of elves with very powerful figures at his side and a whole wild hunt that he can summon at will. We had seen in the game just how fast he can teleport his whole army to your location. Also, remember the final battle where Ciri saved Geralt, but if she didn't, he would have essentially been frozen by the magical spell, and Geralt would have no chance to even reach, let alone beat Eredin, was it not for the whole team effort. There's a reason Witcher 3 is called the Wild Hunt and why Eredin is the main villain of the game. Number 3, Unseen Elder. In the game, this guy is like one of the rare beings we encounter that we just get absolutely zero chance of dealing with him. He teleports so incredibly fast and moves that Geralt, who has superhuman abilities, literally can't do anything. The Unseen Elder is not just a single character, apparently there are more of them across various zones of the world, and they serve as something like leaders for the vampires. This one in particular guards the portal to their original homeworld. Now, keep in mind, we got lesser and higher vampires. Lesser vampires are incredibly dangerous, and Witchers sometimes don't even want to deal with them, but the Witchers generally avoid higher vampires like Regis and Deathlaf because of how incredibly powerful they are. You can see Deathlaf attacking the whole city of Beauclair, and the entire army couldn't stop him. And do you remember the boss fight? I mean, we barely defeated him together with Regis. However, these higher vampires are so scared of the Unseen Elder, who can not only summon them at will, but he can also put them to sleep with a single move of his hand. Now, people see this guy as just some grumpy, powerful old guy that is very powerful in a physical fight, but it is very important to keep in mind that the Unseen Elder had like 5 minutes of screen time in the game. We exchanged like 5 sentences. What we had seen was his ability to sense someone coming, summon higher vampires, teleport, and like end you with a single strike, and to put vampires to sleep. However, almost certainly these are just some of his abilities. I mean, you can see in the cave to their original homeworld where gravity works differently, and throughout the whole quest he just wants to get us to just shut up and go. Now, imagine if he actually was keen on fighting and he was using 100% of his power. Well, of course, that leaves a lot of speculation. The Unseen Elder is one of the most powerful beings we had ever seen in Witcher 3. Number 2. Gaunter O'Dim. The Master Mirror, Gaunter O'Dim, or God for short, he is realistically the most powerful character we had ever encountered in the game. You might be surprised he's not first, and there is a reason for that, which we'll get to in a bit, but this guy is the closest we had ever gotten to an actual demigod in the game. Lore-wise, he appears to be from a different world and likely related to some sort of a djinn or a demon, but he's way stronger than them. The thing about Master Mirror is that he is technically playing outside the bounds of reality in our world, and he's just kinda messing around the entire time. I mean, creating all these deals and such as a way for us to win, but obviously, I mean, he could end you with a single like strike, and he can do everything himself. We can see how he literally stopped time and did whatever he wanted. We can see him creating a storm and destroying a ship. We can see him aging Olgir with a single touch and getting his skull. He can create a pocket dimension and he can turn people immortal, which is like magic out of this world, like literally out of this world. Technically, you can beat him in the game by winning the riddle, but it's just him messing around. I mean, at the end, he just claps for us, says in good job, and then he starts slowly transforming into his true form. I mean, if he really wanted to do something, there is literally nothing we could do. Also, we found legends of him visiting the continent often in the past, like turning the noblewoman into the white with the spoons. So, Gaunter O'Dim, or God, really is the most powerful being we had ever encountered, but let us get into number 1 and why he is not in the first spot. So, number 1. Ciri. Also known as Cirilla Fiona Ellen Rhiannon, or just Ciri, she is the sole princess of Sintra, the daughter of the Emperor of Nilfgaard and Geralt's child of surprise. Now, realistically in the game, when you play with her, Ciri isn't really all that stronger than Geralt, although she gets progressively more powerful as time goes by. But there is a reason everyone from Eredin to the Emperor wants to get Ciri and why she has been on the run. She has special powers unlike anyone else. Having the blood of Lara Dorren, she's the child of the Elder Blood, a unique lineage that grants her powers that make any mage seem like a peddler of cheap tricks. Ciri is a lady of space and time, and her power allows her to travel between worlds at will. She can teleport short distances, which in itself is overpowered, and she was trained as a witcher, and by Witcher 4 she's essentially a full-on witcher. Now, it is very important to note when I put Ciri here, I'm not talking about in-game Ciri, especially early game, as she's nowhere near her true potential, but we're talking about full power Ciri. Keep in mind, by the end of the game, she defeated the White Frost, which is more impressive than anything Gaunter O'Dim had ever done. Keep in mind, the White Frost was this thing that destroyed countless worlds that no amount of magic or mages could even do anything to endanger. Also, when you talk with Gaunter O'Dim about the location of Ciri, he admits that she is beyond his gaze and that there are forces even he cannot meddle with, which implies that Gaunter O'Dim is not really God or the strongest being in the universe, and realistically, Ciri could rank higher. Furthermore, you can see with her scream what she can really do, and now imagine that when it's fully harnessed. In the game, she was essentially a beginner in using magic, with avallac'h being significantly more knowledgeable. So realistically, Ciri is the most powerful being we know. I'm pretty sure she would have found a way to defeat Gaunter O'Dim if it really came down to it, just like how she defeated the White Frost. Thank you for watching. Let me know which characters you guys think are the strongest in the game by clicking on the screen, and check out my previous video on the Unseen Elders versus the Gaunter Odin by clicking on the screen, and also subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. See you next time!